Hello, my digital artist friends. Today we are going to learn how to make a gingerbread house in Google Drawing. So I wanted to show you this one that I finished up, and I'm going to give you some ideas for your Google Drawing. So in a blank Google Drawing, you're going to want to make sure that you add your name, gingerbread house. Then we're going to get started. So on the background, we are going to choose a gradient. And maybe you want to choose one of these blue ones just to switch it up. I'll choose this one. And then we want to start planning out the snow on the ground. So for this, there's a couple different ways to do it. You could use shapes to make the ground, or one of my favorite ways is to just use the polyline or the curve. And you want to make sure that your snow is going to go off the page, so that way the whole entire bottom of the page is going to be white. So I'm going to just click around the bottom of my page. I know sometimes it's a little bit hard to see on here. I need to perfect zooming out. Nope, it's not really making it zoomed out. I don't want to be too far away because I want you to be able to see. That's a little bit too far out. It'll work. So here's my snow. I'm gonna make it white, transparent border. Now we can build our gingerbread house. You can use the polyline tool to make a gingerbread house shape like that. But I don't want to do that. I think I want to just use a pre-made shape. So if you come over to your shapes tool, there's a pentagon shape. It's a 5-sided shape. We could use that to build our gingerbread house. And you can make it 3-dimensional or not. So you could use this shape to make your gingerbread house. And we're going to need to color it in. There isn't really a brown choice here, so you might want to come to custom and make a brown. So somewhere in between the red and the orange, in the middle, that can be the brown for my gingerbread house. Then you might want to make it 3-dimensional. So I'm going to use polyline, and I'm going to make the side of the roof, fill it in. I'm going to refine the shape, double click it, move the points. Now you don't have to make your gingerbread house 3-dimensional, but I think sometimes it's helpful to do it that way. I'm going to come back to polyline. I'm going to zoom in, make one more shape. Alright, and click away, select tool. Alright, I'm going to move this in front. That way there's snow in front of my gingerbread house. Like that. There we go. So now I have these 3 shapes. I'm going to change the border color to white. Make it thicker so that it looks like it's held together with real frosting. Then I can start to decorate my gingerbread house. So you might want to use the scribble tool to make waves for frosting. We could change the color, change the thickness. I'm coming around and can do that to the whole house, just like that. You might want to make loops for the roof. If you don't want to make loops for the roof, I don't think I like that. I'm going to come over to the shapes and I'll use the block arc. So if you use the block arc, you can fill it in transparent, oops, and make the border white. Then you can change the thickness of the border. Could rotate it around, shrink it down. Maybe it's like a double loop. So you can make some loops this way to decorate your roof. Maybe coming down on the side, filling it in. You can use those yellow diamonds to make it fit better. So you could also use some of these other shapes. I'm going to use this one. It's called the teardrop to have little plops of frosting. So with the teardrop shape, once you draw it, you can use the yellow diamond to stretch it out. So my yellow diamond was like this. I clicked on the yellow diamond and I pulled it away. That way it looks more like a teardrop shape. Then I can change the color. Maybe I want to use a gradient. White. I think that's too dark, so I'll come to custom. I'll choose this top and I'll make it lighter. I think that looks better. And then I'll turn the border to transparent. Could use this, rotate it around, make it a little bit smaller for plops of frosting on my house. So what I want to do is, zoom in, make sure it's selected, resize it, duplicate it, Control D. I'm just using Control D and the arrow keys. Over, over, up, up. Duplicate. Over, 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 over. Alright, we also need to add a way to get into our house. So you could choose, there are a lot of shapes that you could choose to make a doorway. I'm going to choose this one. Rotate it. Stretch it out. Resize it. I'm going to change the color. I'm also going to make a wreath. So start off with a circle shape. I'm going to use that custom white. And then I will add some stripes to make it look like a candy cane. Not a candy cane, a peppermint. So I'll use this one. Stretch it out, make it long and thin. Duplicate it. Rotate it. Shrink it down. Make it fit. Duplicate it. Rotate it. I need to shrink it down a little bit. And I want to select those three. So click, press shift, click, click. I want to make all of those red. Now it looks more like peppermint. Make that a little bit smaller so it fits nice. I want to duplicate this one too and rotate it over. There we go. Got my peppermint. Oops, candy. Like that. Alright, what else do we need to add to our gingerbread house? We need some windows. So you can really choose any shape that you want for this, but I'll use the bevel. I'll make one window. I'll duplicate it. Put it underneath. Line them up. Then I'll press shift and click. I'll change the color of both of them. I'm going to use a gradient. Use the yellow gradient. I'm going to change the outline color to pale yellow. Maybe not pale yellow. Maybe a medium yellow. Yep, that looks good. Press shift and click. Duplicate. Move it over. Press Control D. Duplicate. Move it over. Duplicate. Move it over. Maybe these are like white chocolate windows. The white chocolate bars for my windows. Then I'll make a tree. So I'm going to actually come over to the shapes, choose the triangle, make a tree. I'm going to duplicate it, Control D, move it over. And then I'm going to press shift to click on both of them and come over to the color. I'm going to choose a gradient. I'm going to use light to dark green, or maybe this light to dark green. I think that looks a little bit more snowy. Turn the border to transparent. I'm going to come over to the scribble tool. And I'm going to use the scribble tool to make lines going back and forth, 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 all the way to the ground. And then I'm going to change the thickness to 8. Oh, that's a little too much, maybe 4. Make it white. Make it even change the type of line. Make it dotted. Making it look a little bit more like snow around my tree. And if I really like that one, I could duplicate it or I could draw it again. So scribble tool. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Change the color, change the thickness, change the type of line. Change the type of line. What kind of line do I want? There's a lot of choices for that. Could even take that line, duplicate it, shrink it down, change it up a little bit. Like that. Here we go. That looks decorated. Do the same thing. Duplicate it. Oop. Shrink it down. Shrink it down. Stretch it out. Like that. That way the tree looks really decorated. Yeah, snowy tree. Okay. I also want to show you how we can make some snowflakes. So I'm going to make my snowflake on the side of the screen. I'm going to use scribble tool. And I'm going to make some lines. Whoop. Scribble tool. You could use another tool for this, but I kind of like how it's like this flowing, free. just draw a design like a snowflake. If you don't like that one, you can always make another one. So when I use the scribble tool, I click and I hold the click down. So click, hold and down, click, hold and down, click, hold and down, click, holding down. So I have one snowflake, two snowflakes. I'm going to use the select tool, click and drag, select all the pieces. Oop, not those pieces, just these. Why is it trying to also select that? That's quite annoying. Here we go, move that over for just a moment. We want to change the line color to white, change the thickness, and then I'm going to shrink it down real small. It's easier to make it when it's big and then shrink it down. Then I can move it into my design, and I think the line should just stay at 1. I want to be fancy, I can make my snowflake dotted lines, but I also want to arrange it as a group. Then when I click away, there's my beautiful snowflake. I could always come in and change the type of line, like that. Duplicate it, move it over, change the type of line if I want, make that one dotted, and duplicate it, move it over, change the type of line to dotted and dashed. Oh, I like this one the best, I think. I'm going to change them all to like that. Dotted and dashed. Dotted and dashed. Everybody's got a different opinion of what they're going to like. So I'm going to press shift and click, click. So now I have those 3. I'm going to duplicate it. Move it over. Duplicate it. Move it over. Decide where I want to put these snowflakes. Duplicate it. Oop. Move it over. Duplicate it. Move them over, and duplicate them, fill up the sky. Okay, so now I have my snowflakes in the sky. I don't want the snowflake, but I'll just leave them there. I'm going to make a snowman, so I'm going to use shapes, the oval, make a circle. Fill color, I'm going to use that custom gradient, border to transparent, duplicate it, pull it up, make them smaller. Duplicate it, pull it up, make them smaller. So now we can decorate our snowman really using a lot of different techniques. We can go back to the scribble tool and we can draw some stick arms. I don't know about you, but I like to draw on the side of the screen. I feel like it's pretty helpful, give me a place to like really plan out my idea. Then I can use the select tool, pick up all of those, change it to that brown color, make the line kind of thick. Then I can come over to select tool again and make sure his arm is all one piece. So I need to select it, arrange as a group. That way it looks like all one line. I can shrink it down, move it over to my snowman's body, duplicate it, format options, size and rotation, flip it horizontally. Now it's got 2 matching arms. So another thing you might want to do is insert image, search the web, and I can type in snowman hat, transparent. And I can find a nice hat with a transparent background. I'll choose this one. Insert it. Oh. Let's find a different one. What about this one? Insert. Okay, this is really big. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to shrink it down. I need to keep shrinking it down, make it real small because his head is tiny. Okay, so now that I have my snowman's hat, I can still shrink it down and make it even smaller if I need to. So I found that image online. Then I noticed that over here, this is not covered up. So let's move it like that. There's lots of other details that you can add to your artwork, but I want to give you plenty of time to work. So go ahead and get started. Oh, where did my ending go? Here.